Most of my videos are about electric bikes. I want to point out why I'm jumping into scooter reviews a little bit, because I feel like we're starting to blur the lines between electric bicycles and scooters in some ways. And I'm going to use this as an example. Now, at first glance, you might think that looks like an electric bike. Or you might even think it doesn't even look like an electric bike. It looks like a little mini motorcycle, a mini bike or something. And I think in a lot of ways you'd be right. It has pedals, technically, but it doesn't even have a derailleur or gears. So do they really expect you to pedal it? No, not really, no. It has a saddle that you sit down on, but it's really thin and, to be honest, quite uncomfortable. If it's got an uncomfortable seat, pedals that don't work, at what point is this really just a funny looking scooter? This is far more comfortable to ride. The wheels are tiny, yes, and this thing is absolutely terrifying by how fast it goes.
45, 50.
Totally nuts. Now, in my opinion, this is a bit overkill. It's too powerful for such small wheels, too fast. Most people were justified in the comments on the video I made about that, saying how it's dangerous, the wheels are too small, and no person in their right mind should buy one or sell one. So today I have something much more tame. This is the Rictor S9. They did offer to send the scooter out to me. They did not pay me anything to make a video about this, but I agreed because I want to kind of showcase the differences between e-bikes, or things close to e-bikes, and really powerful scooters, and scooters like this one that I think have their place. There's a reason you see so many of these things zipping down city streets. So let's get into some of the reasons you might want a scooter instead of an electric bike. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you do want to see the video that's coming out soon on that. Reason number one, you would buy an electric scooter over an e-bike, that has to be price. Scooters are just simpler. The frame design is simpler. I mean, the suspension, look at this tiny little thing. This thing's got full suspension, obviously not nearly as complicated as suspension for an electric bike. The tires are smaller and cheaper. The wheels are smaller and cheaper. There is no saddle, so you don't have that expense. There's no chain, there's no shifter, there's no derailleur. A lot of the parts and pieces you have for e-bikes, you just don't have. So it's possible to make a scooter for less money. So if your requirements are 2 wheels, electric, and transportation, maybe a scooter makes more sense. This one is $499. They have a few models that cost even less than this one. They claim a 40-mile range. I think if you had this limited, the way it comes out of the box, you probably could do that. This is a 36 volt, I think it was a 15 amp hour battery, so it's a little bit on the smaller side, but not really that small when you consider it's 500 bucks. Most e-bikes that have a battery a little bit bigger than this, the battery itself will cost you $500. There is a spot for a key. You stick your key in there, this platform pops off and the battery is right underneath there. You can pop it out and these can easily be replaced or swapped out. Reason number 2 to consider a scooter. When you go to e-bikes, you have to have a different frame size, different wheel size, different geometry to fit different heights. Scooters are, for the most part, kind of a one size fits all. I, at 5'10", can comfortably hop on this and ride it around, and my kids, who are well under 5 feet, could easily hop on the exact same scooter without changing anything and also ride it. Standover height on a bike is something people are often concerned about, and this thing is super low to the ground. So accessibility-wise, these things just fit a wide range of people. You can buy one scooter and the whole family can use it. My kids haven't noticed I have this one yet, but if they do, you bet they're gonna try and convince me to let them keep it. And then I would say the third reason, which kind of plays into the cost a little bit, but it's the simplicity. There's not a lot to go wrong on these things. Like I said, no chain, no pedals, no derailleur, no cranks. Basically, as long as the motor works, the battery works, and your brakes work, there's some nuts and bolts to keep tight, but there's very little maintenance that needs to be done. Now this one does come with pneumatic tires, which is nice. They feel pretty thick, so flats probably aren't really gonna be a problem, but you could use flat out like we do in our bicycles. But I just think overall, the maintenance on a scooter, in most cases, is going to be less than a bicycle. Now don't get me wrong, I love electric bikes, and I'm gonna tell you some reasons why maybe a scooter isn't as good as an electric bike as well. But before I do that, let's put this thing through its paces on the road and see if this particular scooter is actually a good one for 500 bucks. And kick off, there we go. So the first thing I gotta point out that I don't particularly like, maybe it's my phone, maybe it's the Android version of the app, is that the settings were a little bit fiddly. I was trying to change the speed and like 2/3 of the time I couldn't get it to save for some reason. So that app's a little finicky. It'd be nice if I could just change some of those settings on the screen, but I can't. This thing is using mechanical disc brakes. Obviously some hydraulic brakes would be better, but 500 bucks, they're gonna work great if you keep them maintained and adjusted. So just check your brakes every once in a while, tune them up. If I squeeze the brakes nice and hard, this thing stops pretty quick. One of the downsides to a scooter is they typically have little tiny wheels. And they just can't roll over obstacles as large as a bicycle. Now, if you're on a nice smooth road like this, it feels great. Actually, it handles really nice. It's kind of fun. But see, there's like a bunch of rocks right here. If I go over these, you wouldn't want to go over like a cobblestone or brick road or something with one of these things. It would just not be fun. It'd do it, but it wouldn't be fun. But you could do that on a bicycle. So let's see how it goes up this hill. I haven't bothered to take out the app and try and crank the speed up yet. So basically I'm just maxed out 15 miles an hour. So I guess I'm gonna have to unlock the speed so I can see how fast it actually goes. Rictor speed 40. I'm gonna put the app in my pocket without going away from that screen, because that worked last time. Oh, now I gotta kick off again. All right, 15, 16. Speed's limited again. It didn't save it. Why? Oh, you know what I did last time? Is I changed something else after, and the scooter beeped. I changed the riding mode. It's not beeping this time though. Come on, beep, connect. All right, we're connected again. Device settings, 40. No beep. Let's change it to comfort mode. Okay, change it back to sport mode. Beeped. Put the app in my pocket. Still didn't do it. I don't know why it will not save the speed. It's very annoying. Well, I don't think it would go max speed up this hill anyway. Let's see if I can maintain 15 miles an hour. So far it is. Now they said online this thing could go up a 25% grade. I have a hard time believing that because of the torque numbers I saw in the dyno, but I'm gonna go up this steep hill right here, which is about 10 degrees. 15 miles an hour, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5. Oh, it's really struggling. Oh, it's still going. We're back up to 6 miles an hour. Okay, well, it did it. It slowed down to 5 miles an hour, but it did not stop. Probably wouldn't want to push it that hard for super long. I guess this is as good a time as any to show you the real dyno figures. $777 watts and 21.3 pound-feet of torque, which is actually not bad. Now, I've only put 2 stand-up scooters on the dyno board, so unfortunately that's gonna put it in last place, but it's also putting it in second place. Advertises a 500 is performing better than advertised. That's a decent amount of power and torque for something that costs less than 500 bucks. Coasting back down this hill, I'm doing like 20 miles an hour without any power on. It rolls really good. Probably the biggest difference though, I think, between a scooter and a traditional e-bike, you can't pedal a scooter. If this thing dies, I am gonna be pushing it like a skateboard, and I'm gonna be kicking off, coasting down hills, and then I'm gonna be walking up hills. And a bicycle, even a heavy one, you can still pedal. In addition to that, the more you pedal an e-bike, the more range you can get. Now that doesn't make a scooter a bad thing. It just means it's different, and you have to know what you're getting for the price. I should mention as well that this particular scooter is IPX5 rated, so that's a waterproof rating. So this thing's designed for year-round use. You can ride it in the rain and it's not gonna hurt it. But you've got a reflector down here, a little headlight there for visibility. Not really gonna light up the road, but at least people can see you. You do have a pretty nice brake light and rear turn signals down here. Turn signals are up on the front on the handlebars here as well. Here's the little mechanical disc brakes it uses, which seem to be stopping these little wheels just fine. Charge port is right there. Of course, you can pop the battery out and charge it separately as well. Now, I suppose I should have mentioned that scooters are also far more compact. Most, this one included, fold down, and they can fit in a much smaller space. I don't remember what the weight capacity on this thing, but it feels really stout. Like, this frame isn't flexing or anything. I even was jumping up and down on it to kind of feel the suspension, and it felt really solid. It's got a bell. So I think scooters, well, hello. So I think scooters have their place, they have their use cases, and just like electric bikes, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So if you want one that's good quality, inexpensive, I'll put a link for the Rictor S9 in the description of this video. If you're crazy enough to go 50 miles an hour on a scooter, or at least you want to watch me be crazy enough to try that, here's a video on this one right there.